This is the web service exercise in JavaScript. I have the application open, the project open here, along with the README file. Let's get started with our use case. So our use case is given the consumer interacts with our web API or our web service. When the consumer submits text to an endpoint, as a reminder, an endpoint is a URL with an HTTP method, which would be get, put, post, patch, delete, one of those. So the combination would be an endpoint. So when text is submitted to that endpoint, so our code that we're going to write, will return a response, and this is going to be in JSON, that reverses the text that was supplied. So whatever text they gave us, we're going to reverse it and send a JSON response that includes that text back. We'll run npm tests for our tests, make sure everything works as we typically do with our test-driven implementation. So we'll start by installing the dependencies. I'll open up the terminal window, and you can do npm install or just npm I. So take just a moment. It may take a little longer on your computer. We've got everything installed. We should be able to run npm tests now. And I am expecting a failure. Perfect. We do get the failure that we are expecting here. So let me open up the test and we'll take a look at the code real fast, see what's happening here. So just one test, a lot of lines, but everything is basically executing sequentially. So we're starting off, it's the mirror API test that reverses the text nominally. Nominally means successfully or normally. We're creating a request, which is coming from supertest. This is part of Express. So we're using the Express framework in JavaScript and Node. We're creating a request, a supertest request, using our app. This is the actual code that is going to be hosting our web service endpoints. We're going to perform a post, an HTTP post, to the URL /reverse. We're sending the JSON object that has a text property with the value of testing. We are sending JSON. We're going to expect 200. We're expecting JSON back and expecting a 200. And then we're going to look at the response body and make sure that it has some object containing or some object that has a property named reverse text with the value of testing in reverse. So whatever the object is, it should contain this property. We are failing right now on the content type. So the content type is coming back as HTML, and that probably is indicating that we're getting an error page. So in addition, we're probably either getting a 400 level or 500 level status code as well. So what we need to do is look into the code. So Express, there's a couple things that are going on. So with Express, we'll start with the app.js file, and we know this is being imported from app. So we go back a folder and we're looking at the app.js file, and there should be an app object. Sure enough, that's being exported. So this is our Express object. We'll notice that we are using routes. We're using this routes from the mirror.js under routes folder. So it's this file here. So here's our routes, and we've got these routes right now. This is a get on the /, which doesn't really do anything. So I could keep it in, I could delete it, I could do any sorts of things that I want. I'm going to leave this for now and ignore it. It's not really going to help us out. I'm going to create a new mapping, and I do that in Express. And if you're not sure how to do this, do an internet search on it. You'll get lots of different suggestions and code examples on how to create posts and gets in Express. We're going to do router.post. And then it wants to know the URL. So for this, I'm going to go back to my test, and we want the URL /reverse. So there is our URL mapping. So it's a post to reverse. And so this is not sending a post. This is accepting a post. This is saying when you see the reverse URL and it's a post, we're going to do the function we're going to do here. So this is going to be an anonymous function, so just an arrow function. And we're going to have a request and a response object that we're going to end up using as a part of this. The request is going to have the data coming in. The response is going to have the data that we use going back out. And you can see an example of sending JSON on the response with the get up top. We're going to do something very similar. So let's review. We want to get the text from the incoming request, reverse it, and send a JSON response out. So let's start with the text. So we'll say the text equals, we're going to pull this from the request. And on the request, again, there's lots of internet examples out there. We're going to go to the body object. Now, the body is going to be a JSON or a JavaScript object that has been deserialized. So let's look back at our test. We are sending a text property, so I can pull that exactly from the body. So text is going to be my text value coming in. Now I need to reverse that. And we will do this with a single liner, so we'll split on empty string, we'll reverse, and then join back on empty string. That'll reverse our text in JavaScript. Then finally, we need to send a response, a JSON response. So it's going to be an object, and I can do this as a string, but in JavaScript, I can actually do this as an object, and it will convert that to our JSON string for us automatically. So we're going to send an object back, and we want this reverse text property. So we'll say reverse text is the value reverse text. So the first reverse text on the left here, this is the name of the property. On the right, this is the value of the property. And this is coming from our constant. It's a little hard to see because the blues are subtle, but the darker blue on the right matches the darker blue above, which is the constant. That is the reverse text that we created. The lighter blue on the left is basically the name of the property. So that should be everything there. Let's run our test and see if we've made progress, see if I have any errors. We have a pass. So that's all we needed to do. So again, we created our post mapping to the reverse method, and then we implemented our code that basically reversed the text and sent the JSON back. That's the test side of it. Let's go back to the README now. Objective 2 is we want to run this application as a server application, and we want to test it. Now we can use something like Postman or SOAP UI. These are tools that QA will often use to test our service endpoints that we create. We can also use curl, and I'm just going to use curl for this. So we'll start off with our terminal command. We'll run node index, and we'll see that it's listening on port 3000. So I can open this up in a browser, but it's not going to really do much for me because I can't do a post on the browser. So instead, actually, I could probably just open this up in a new terminal window here right on the right. We're going to run this curl command. So let me copy it to my clipboard. Oh, we have a problem. Can't bind headers. Let's convert. All right, we may need to do something else if we're doing curl on PowerShell. So let me just open up a command prompt. So here's our command prompt. I'll paste it in. There we go. This is working. So we can see that our response is reverse text, which is reversing the text to reverse. So let me do that again, but I'm going to change our text just to show that we're actually doing something interesting. Chad's awesome test. Sure enough, there's the reverse of it. So that concludes the web service exercise in JavaScript.